teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in South Dakota so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Mom, can we please go to Waitiki Indoor Water Park Resort?
Waitiki? What's so special about it?
Are you kidding? It's got slides, fountains, a lazy river, everything. And it's just a short drive to Rapid City. If we stay at one of the hotels, we get water park passes for free.
Wow, you really did your homework. Okay, what do you say we pack our swimsuits and hit Waitiki this weekend?
Yes, best mom ever.
Unlock your adventure at WaitikiWaterPark.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Here's what you need to know.
The NFL announced today that its first ever Thanksgiving Eve game will take place Wednesday, November 25th, when the Los Angeles Rams host the Green Bay Packers. Earlier today, more international matchups were announced, including the Saints against the Steelers in Paris in Week 7, the NFL's first ever regular season game in France. New England Patriots rookie linebacker Quintavious Hutchins pled not guilty today to a domestic assault charge. Hutchins, who was the Patriots' seventh-round draft choice out of Boston College, is accused of forcefully grabbing a woman by the neck yesterday at a Boston College residence hall. In Major League Baseball, New York Yankees pitcher Max Fried left today's 7-0 loss at Baltimore after 3 innings with left elbow posterior soreness. He'll have an MRI tomorrow. Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez will need surgery after being diagnosed with a torn meniscus in his right knee. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Glad you're here, everybody. Hope you're doing well, warming up across South Dakota. It is always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. And South Dakota Sports Talk Show back live and ready, live, local, ready to go across KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. South Dakota Sports Talk, 2 hours, ready to go. It's always a great day in South Dakota. The Nate Brown Show is back on. Appreciate you guys making this show possible. We really do. Some great guests tonight. Good stuff tonight, from high school to college to the pros. We'll get into a guest lineup coming up. A reminder, you can stream us on YouTube right now, The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate that. And you can watch us live, and the archive shows are there. Welcome in studio, the YouTube stream, Matt Kearney special. Man, that guy's done the work. He's putting us up on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show, so you've got us. We're on X right now, streaming live as well. If you're on X, follow us at Nate Brown Show and watch us live on your phone. Welcome you in if you're watching on X, and Midwest Sports Plus, our other partnership with Forum Communications, and we stream it live every day on Midwest Sports Plus, the new high school sports streaming app. The Nate Brown Show, I told you, good guest lineup tonight. A couple of new guests we haven't heard in quite some time, but a brand new guest that we haven't had on the show. He's been a longtime sports writer out of Minneapolis. We haven't had him on the show. It's time to do that. Let's do it. Jim Souhan's on tonight. Longtime columnist, Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Jim Souhan talking Wolves and more. He is on live tonight from the Twin Cities, Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Wolves in a little bit of trouble. They get blasted last night by the Spurs, and now you've got to win 2. That's the kicker. Everybody says, well, just one at a time here. Well, I understand, but so it comes back to Minnesota for Game 6, but you got to win 2 against the Spurs. You got to win 2. Last night kind of hit the alarm bell for me a little bit as I watched that. Jim Souhan, his thoughts on the Wolves and the Spurs coming up. Josh Fenton's in tonight from the Summit League. He's the commissioner of the Summit League. He has not had an interview since the expansion of the tournament. So you're talking now men's and women's basketball tournament going to 76 teams. What does that mean for the Summit League, if anything? We'll talk about the challenges of college sports in this landscape right now for mid-major conferences. And what does he think of North Dakota State? Now, they're members of the Summit League in all their sports, but we know now they're going FBS. What about the Mountain West looking at NDSU the rest of the way? What happens there? Josh Fenton's in tonight from the Summit League. He's live straight ahead. East River meets West River. Craig Maddox on tonight from SDPB Sports, and the new head boys basketball coach at Sioux Falls Roosevelt, Ben Schultz. He's going to join us live tonight. Ben Schultz has been the coach at Spearfish. He's going to Sioux Falls Roosevelt. We'll talk to the Rough Rider head boys basketball coach as he'll get set for this next season. Let's get you in tonight. 605-720-1067. That's our number. 605-720-1067. Mark it down. Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Powered by our friends at the Pizza Ranch. Best buffet in town by far. 2 great locations. Stop by in Brandon. The Pizza Ranch is outstanding. East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, excellent as well. Home of everyone's favorite buffet. Locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. And the Barron's Wilson text line open and ready, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line for you tonight. Join the conversation at 605-720-1067. Okay, I'm going to have a little fun. Why not have a little fun to open up the show tonight? Well, I mean, we try to do that anyway, but we don't have to be so serious, right? Life's so serious. Let's have a little fun. So I got this listener text yesterday. And I'm going to do this in honor of the Minnesota Vikings bringing flag football to Sioux Falls, an organization now. They're going to team up with the Sioux Falls School District, Community Learning Centers, and the Minnesota Vikings going to pay for the startup costs and the jerseys and all that stuff and coaches and everything else. If you missed this, I mean, that's a big news release yesterday. I hope this is something that takes off. Yes, in Sioux Falls, great. I hope the Denver Broncos on the west side of the state. How about the Broncos doing it for Rapid City? I think this could take off. So, girls flag football is going to have a organized season with this partnership with the Minnesota Vikings starting this fall. So, in honor of that announcement yesterday, maybe you saw that, but if you didn't, that's pretty big news. I think middle school girls and high school girls are going to enjoy it. We'll see how many numbers come out and the whole thing, and if this catches on in South Dakota. But in honor of that, I got a listener text yesterday, and I thought this was interesting. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to spin it back to the audience as well tonight. So the listener texted in yesterday. He said, hey, great that flag football is getting started. He thinks it's going to be popular for high school girls and middle school girls. He said, I think this is great. It should catch on in South Dakota and go to other towns and markets and the whole thing. And it helps when you have an NFL team behind it. But this listener said, hey, Nate, who would be on your Olympic, the Olympics coming up in L.A. 2028, who would be on your Olympic flag football team? And so I got to think, I'm like, I'm going to break this thing down right here today. Let's do it. In honor of Sioux Falls getting girls flag football with the partnership and the Vikings and the Sioux Falls School District Community Learning Centers, here is the Nate Brown Show NFL flag football Olympic team. This you gotta know what you're doing here. This is Olympics now. Flag football here. This isn't, I don't need a bunch of beef eaters. I don't need a bunch of tough guys. I need some slicers, dicers, shimmy, shakes. I need some guys, some speed, man. So if you're going to watch this in 2028, who's going to be on the USA team? I've got my starters, and I've got 4 reserves that'll come in, okay? So that's how I'm going to play this. But I will throw this out as you're listening tonight. You tell me just 2 guys that you have to have on this team. 1 quarterback, 1 wide receiver. Hey, by the way, we still give out a buffet a day to the Pizza Ranch. Do you know this? Just for answering our question of the day from the Nate Brown Show, we give out a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch in Brandon or East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, just for answering the question of the day. So let's hit us. This is an easy one. Who is your quarterback and wide receiver you're going to put on your USA Olympic flag football team, okay? We got a couple of years here, but NFL players are going to have the opportunity to play in the Olympics. So here are my starters, and I want yours as well. 605-720-1067. Text line's open. We'll set you up with a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch. We'll pull you out tonight at the end of the show, potentially for a free buffet. Your quarterback and wide receiver you have to have. So let me start with wide receivers. There's 5 players on the field for the Olympics, okay? Just so you're aware of this. You're going to have 5-on-5. Fields are going to be 50 yards, so the 25-yard line's midfield. So that's the layout. This will be interesting a couple of years from now. So flag football starters for the Nate Brown Show. Wide receivers are, give me Justin Jefferson. You know I have to. I mean, you got to go there. Is he the best wide receiver in the league? Arguably the best. Hasn't had the best quarterback play. Sam Darnold, I thought, was good. You guys didn't, but I guess it turns out he was okay. I say you guys, Vikings fans. You let him go, and he turned out okay. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2, Jamar Chase. You're thinking, wait, he's pretty physical. Is he gonna be that flag football guy? Can he get separation? Are you gonna be able to throw a bomb to him? Jamar Chase. He was the best wide receiver on that LSU team back in the day. You guys knew that. Jamar Chase was the best wide receiver. Justin Jefferson was not. I'll take JJ Jets number 1, and then I'm going to go Jamar Chase as wide receiver 2. My final wide receiver starter from my USA Olympic flag football team is, this is tough now, I'm going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba. Come on, you're going to tell me there's not enough there. The Seahawks, he just had one breakout year. He was something. You want to talk about getting open, some speed, some great hands? Jackson Smith-Njigba. There's my 3 wide receivers. You can argue if you want. It's fine. It's all good. There's my 3. I put some work into this afternoon. Don't mess around. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith-Njigba. So JSN. There's my 3 wide receivers. I'm going to throw a running back into my starters. I mean, you don't have to have a running back here in the Olympics. In a couple of years, I was looking up rules. I mean, what a day today. Getting deep dive into flag football for the Olympics. But you don't have to have a running back, but I think this guy can catch it, can run, might be able to get a block. Can you block? I'm okay with that. Bijan Robinson. Is he the best running back in the league right now? Well, he's got to be up there. I'll go Bijan Robinson, can catch the ball and still has breakaway speed. So give me Bijan Robinson. There's my 4 skill guys, my starters. My starting quarterback. I went back and forth. I said this yesterday as the listener texted in. My starting quarterback for the USA Olympic team in 2 years should be Josh Allen. Big arm, athletic, can run. I mean, I don't need him to run people over, but that's always an option to kind of send a message to, a little rugby style. So send a message, Josh. I'm okay with that. But he's fast enough, huge arm, athletic, and he's just like street ball. He's like Brett Favre. I mean, when you're playing flag football, you need to be able to just play street ball, sling it. I want Josh Allen slinging it. This isn't making reads. This is just playing backyard football. So give me Josh Allen, number 1 quarterback. Nate Brown Show, flag football, Olympic team. There's my starters. How about some reserves? Wide receiver reserves. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb. I haven't been a huge fan of CeeDee Lamb. I think a lot of you guys in the country love CeeDee Lamb, but he is good enough. I think CeeDee Lamb will fit. I'll take him. Went back and forth. Should you go Puka Nacua? Should you do that? But I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb. He's the true number 1. Give me CeeDee Lamb off the bench. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown off the bench. I like a guy that can do some short yardage stuff. Quick. some ins, some outs, some 5-yard hooks, right? I need quick. Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in off the bench for me. My running back in off the bench. You might not like this. It's St. Brown's teammate. This is a guy that plays. This is flag football, guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit Lions running back. You want to talk about catching the ball and a game breaker, speed to the outside. Got to have some speed on the perimeter. So if I got a running back in here off the bench coming in for Bijan Robinson, it will be Jahmyr Gibbs from the Lions. There's my backups coming in off the bench, and my QB2. You're going to love this. I'm going to remind you one more time. This is flag football. I've thought about Patrick Mahomes. I thought long and hard about it. Not quite athletic enough. Not quite. I mean, he's there, not quite athletic enough. I thought about Joe Burrow. Cool hand Joe. Just, he'd probably be just fit right in playing flag football, right? Just fit right in. Not enough athleticism. It is Lamar Jackson, QB2. So Josh Allen, I want him first half. I'll go Lamar Jackson second half. Okay? There it is. I served it up. You guys, I need you to serve this up right now, okay? I want to know. I want to hear from you guys. 605-720-1067 on the Barron's Wilson text line. Your flag football Olympic team quarterbacks and wide receivers. Okay? I went Josh Allen, QB1, Lamar Jackson, QB2. I was going to go Kyler Murray, but I thought you guys would flip out. He'd be a good flag football player. Don't need to see over the line. Just saying. Kyler Murray was close. I'll go Lamar Jackson. So much speed, man. Run, pass. Lamar, I thought about putting Lamar over Josh, my boy. I thought about putting him over my boy. Let's see. Lister text coming in. We do have some Kyler Murray votes. No, this is serious. This is from you guys. Listener text coming in. 605-720-1067. Let's see. I would go with Kyler Murray. A lot of speed. Here's another one. Kyler Murray, and then it's a laughing face, so you're not being serious. By the way, Kyler might be ready for that. He might be ready for that. Listener text, Jordan Love, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Interesting. Let's see. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson and Justin Jefferson. Okay, there's a good combo. You guys tell me your combos, okay? Quarterback, wide receiver. That's what I'd like to know. 605-720-1067. Let's take a look, make sure they're coming in. Jamar Chase got my vote. I would not go T. Higgins. I would not go, but Justin Jefferson getting a couple more votes. You send them in to me. 605-720-1067. Question of the day, who's your quarterback and wide receiver you have to have? That's your quarterback and wide receiver you have to have if you're putting them on the USA Olympic flag football team. By the way, what was our results from the poll yesterday? I put this out there yesterday. Will flag football for girls catch on in South Dakota? And what was our results? 58% of you say no, it will fade out. 42% of you say yes, I see girls playing. Interesting results. If you didn't vote yesterday, vote on the text line as well. You think high school girls flag football through the Minnesota Vikings partnership here in Sioux Falls will take off? I hope it does. I know my daughters would have played. I mean, they're soccer players and the whole thing, but you give this option to some kids and you get them into it. I think that's more girls like it than you would think. I know there's a lot of towns that have done this around the country. South Dakota going to start with the Minnesota Vikings Flag Football League this fall in Sioux Falls. 605-720-1067 on the text line. All right, there's my team. Justin Jefferson getting some votes. He's the leading wide receiver on the text line. It's not a surprise. Lister text, Nate, why didn't you put Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins? Well, I would have back in the day. We're a little past that. By the way, it's going to be 2028, so we kind of got to think ahead. Maybe somebody's going to pass by Josh Allen. Maybe somebody like Arch Manning. Maybe Arch Manning will be the quarterback. Everybody thinks he's going to be good. Russell's going to be on your TV, maybe even sooner than you thought. Josh Fenton's on this show next. He's the commissioner of the Summit League. A lot to discuss with him as the tournament is expanding. Does that help the Summit League teams if they get into the 76-team field? Josh Fenton live coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Want to do more of what you love and earn cash back doing it? With a Visa Cashback credit card from Black Hills Federal Credit Union, it's possible. Earn 1.5% cash back on everyday purchases like gas and groceries, and use it to fund your shoe obsession, vinyl collection, or airline upgrade. Plus, spend $2,000 in your first 90 days and get a $200 cashback bonus. Learn more at bhfcu.com/cashback. Offer subject to credit approval. Other restrictions apply.
If you think all shoe stores are the same, you haven't walked into Trav's Outfitter. We have the biggest selection of footwear anywhere. In fact, we dare you to compare. At Trav's, you don't have to sell yourself a pair of shoes. Our team helps you find the right fit for your lifestyle. We may be the newest name on the block in Rapid, but we've been in this game for over 40 years. Come find us in the old Kmart building. Trav's Outfitter, best selection, best service, no BS.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. A red flag warning continues. Mainly clear skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 90. Winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Slight chance for showers. Tonight, lows level off around 63. Overcast skies. Mainly sunny skies. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 82. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 87 degrees.
Take your adventures to the next level with a grand prize from Tin Lizzie Gaming Resort that'll have you exploring the Black Hills in style. We've teamed up with Polaris of the Black Hills to give away a 2026 Polaris RZR worth over $21,000 all month long. Earn free daily entries using your Clubhouse card when you play, or sign up for a free Clubhouse card today. The more you play, the more chances you have to win. Then be here May 30th and you could be our grand prize winner. Learn more at tinlizzie.com.
This month at Spearfish Motors, the purchase of any vehicle automatically enters you for a chance to win the ultimate VIP experience for Deadwood PBR's high-octane bull riding on Friday, June 12th. We're talking next-level access, the exclusive shark cage, premium VIP seating, plus a room and dinner at Cadillac Jack's. You could be living it up like a true VIP at Deadwood PBR. Don't miss out. Shop today at Spearfish GMC Cadillac
or at spearfishmotors.com.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight. Fox Sports Radio across the state. Our affiliates are Fox Sports Rapid City and KWSN Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Glad you're here. Hope you've had a solid day. A little warming up across South Dakota. We'll take it. We'll go to the Twin Cities on the way. First-time guest, longtime sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, Jim Souhan's in tonight. He covered the Wolves-Spurs last night. Wolves down now 3-2. Their backs are against the wall. Jim Souhan's thoughts from the Star-Tribune on the Wolves' chances in the semis. Craig Maddox on the way from SDPB. East River meets West River with Craig. He's on tap. Busy show tonight. Appreciate his time hopping in. We've had him on. Summit League Commissioner Josh Fenton on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline here on the Nate Brown Show. Josh, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm great, Nate. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
With you.
Thanks for the
legendary Jim Souhan on your show. That's great stuff there. As a proud Minnesotan, I know that name well.
I believe that. Legendary. I said, how have we not had Jim on before? So he's in tonight. You're going to serve it up to him. I want to get your thoughts because there was some big news here, and men's and women's basketball is going to get a big change, and they're going to expand the tournament, Josh. And so I've seen some mid-major conferences comment, like the Big Sky, saying, well, this might be good for a Big Sky champion on the men's side, for example. Maybe they're the 15 seed, and they would be in the, play-in games Tuesday or Wednesday. That might give them a financial benefit if they win that game. Is that where you're at with the Summit League, potentially, if a team gets in at 15 or not?
Yeah, so first off, I've stated a few times over that I was in favor of expansion, so as long as it accomplished a couple of things. One, it's got to obviously provide more opportunity, and certainly it does that, but economically it needs to make some sense. And the NCAA and the people that were working on it with the media partners obviously got to a point where the financials were able to make sense. In particular, the unit values, which is getting at kind of the reference to the Big Sky, were not going to be diminished for wins in the tournament, regardless of whether those wins occurred in the opening round or later on in the tournament as they are right now. And so, I have been supportive of it. So as long as a couple of those things play out, and I think I look at it very similarly to Tom Wistrcill, the Big Sky commissioner. The tournament has become, especially for the AQs, in some sense, very challenging in the opening round, and I think you've seen kind of how the results that have played. And so, if you have, meaning in the first round, if you have a chance now in more of a 50-50 game in the opening round, certainly to win a unit for the conference, that's some pretty significant financial opportunity for the conference that would go a long way for the conference and the member institutions that are certainly in need of some financial resources. And to the tune, by the way, if people are wondering, it's about a $350,000 per year bump for 6 years on the men's side, and it's about $190,000 to $200,000 bump per year for 3 years on the women's side. And so, I look at that as a great opportunity financially. And then, the other thing, Nate, is we've had some great teams that haven't gotten into the tournament, and I'm going to call out one on the women's side this past year, which is the North Dakota State Bison. In this model, they would be in the tournament. And so it isn't just about the, opening round, AQ chance to win a unit. It's also about when we have some great teams that deserve to be in the tournament, like the North Dakota State Bison did this past year, or in the sense of, we may have a team that has an incredible year and then all of a sudden stumbles in the conference tournament final. And maybe they wouldn't get in a previous setup, and maybe this provides them that opportunity because of the additional at-large.
Josh, what's your argument to fans? They tell me that, well, these extra teams, they're mainly going to be SEC, Big Ten bubble, Mountain West, some team that's close. That's who's mainly going to be, men's and women's. But you said, well, what about North Dakota State? They were on the bubble on the women's side. You think they'd get a slot?
North Dakota State would have been, on the women's side, North Dakota State would have been in the tournament next year or this year if next year's model were in place this past year. 100%. They would have been in the tournament. I think it's so. I may get my numbers a little bit wrong here, Nate, but I think since the tournament last expanded to 68, and they had the first 4 brought in Dayton. I think it's about 60-ish teams over the course of the number of tournaments, 15 tournaments, I guess it was during that time. And it was about 60% that were the first 4 out. It was about 60% that came from Autonomy 4, Autonomy 5 conferences, and about 40% that came from quote-unquote mid-majors. And that includes like the Mountain West and the American. They include the Big East in that, which is probably an unfair correlation. And so the 40% is maybe less to the tune of 20 to 30%. But that's on the men's side. And then on the women's side, the last time the women expanded was in 2022. I think it's about 35% would have come of the first 4 out from the mid-major conferences. So for people to think that, well, these teams will never be mid-major teams, the data over the past however many years has not necessarily indicated that. And we had a very direct impact on it with the NDSU women this past year.
Josh Fenton on tonight, commissioner of the Summit League here on the Nate Brown Show. Appreciate his time talking expansion of the men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams. One more on this. So I'm good with it, Josh. I know some media guys and everybody, they're either for it. It's like, I'm against it or I'm for it. I'm good with it because I love basketball. So I said, I'm all in. Tournament starts Tuesday. Great. I'm all in. Do you have to sell this to fans at all that say, I don't want this? There are people that say they don't want it. Do you have to sell it at all?
I don't think so. I think we have to explain it a little bit better, and this opportunity gives me a chance to explain it a little bit better. The additional spots, the 8 additional spots, means that it's about 20 to 21% of the membership would have a spot in the NCAA basketball tournament, men's and women's. Before that, it was below 20%, which was the lowest among all of our major team sports across the NCAA that made a postseason tournament. And so we're kind of coming up in line with other sports in terms of the percentage of membership that would participate in the tournament. The reality is the tournament is interwoven into the fabric of our society. March Madness is in the fabric of our society, and it brings on great storylines every single year. And we saw a great storyline this past year in the first 4 with Miami University, Miami of Ohio, that went on the historic run in the regular season, got tripped up in the MAC tournament, got in as an at-large, rightfully so. And that was a great storyline. That was a part of what happened in Dayton. And then they won the game in Dayton, and the train continued. Unfortunately, they lost in the first round. But, those storylines are what we love about this tournament. And just because we've added some games on Tuesday and Wednesday, by the way, there have been games on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think those great storylines are going to continue. And I think it's going to have, the American public continue to be very glued to their screens watching arguably the best college tournament that we have out there.
Summit League Commissioners on tonight's South Dakota Sports Talk Show with Josh Fenton. I wanted to talk about the financial side a little bit. Let's say a Summit League team wins. They get a unit that benefits all the Summit League teams. So some universities are cutting here, Josh. I mean, you've seen this last month. Tennis, golf. Can you explain, is it tight right now for some of these mid-major programs, athletic departments in the Summit League?
I think it's challenging across the entire country at mid-majors, and it's probably to some extent challenging even at the high majors. They just live in a little different neighborhood than we live in financially. NCAA legal settlements have impacted us, all of us. The House settlement has impacted us. There's a recent new settlement called the Ray settlement, which is tied to volunteer assistant coach litigation that was there that is now impacting us. So the revenue that the NCAA has distributed to the membership, conferences, and institutions is less. And so it is very tight. And then you add on the fact that the model in which we're operating under for especially in Division I, with now institutions able to provide NIL opportunities, direct revenue sharing, that's additional expense. And I'm not here to say that the student athletes aren't deserving of it. They are. But the fact of the matter is it's additional expense. And so things are tight. And so if there is an opportunity to win a game in that opening round or have a chance for a team to get into the tournament that may have not got into the tournament under the old structure, as I said earlier, on the men's side, it's to the tune of about $2 million over 6 years that we then would likely distribute to our membership. And on the women's side, it's about $600,000 over 3 years. And so those are positive things that institutions need to continue to support Division I athletics at a high level.
I want to ask you a couple more. I'll let you run. North Dakota State, a member of the Summit League for their sports. Football went to the Mountain West. Football wasn't in the Summit League, but they went to the Mountain West. I wonder if you have an eye on North Dakota State, conversations there, if the Mountain West is looking further down the road for adding them as a full member. How important is that conversation?
Well, conference realignment, first off, never sleeps and probably won't sleep here in the future. And so we're attuned to membership and membership health being probably at the top of our priority list. And we've been aggressive on our expansion efforts, and we're going to continue to be aggressive on expansion efforts. We've got great things to offer. Regarding North Dakota State, I think you've heard from them, and they've said very publicly that their focus for all other sports, I guess separate from maybe wrestling, which is now in the Pac-12, is in the Summit League. And the reason for that is they love the regional competition that they have. Obviously, there's a management aspect on the travel side and expense side that works for them. But it's the right conference for them for basketballs and volleyballs and soccer and everything else. They're hosting our outdoor track and field championships this weekend. And so they're, like our other members, wanting to build a strong, healthy Summit League. I can't speak to what the Mountain West is doing, but I don't believe that the Mountain West is having a lot of conversations about that. Football is a different sport. It's played once a week, and you're traveling 5, 6, 7 times at most a year, and you're traveling on the day before the game, you're playing the game, and you're coming back that night on an aircraft that you've secured for your entire team and travel party. So that travel is very different than managing basketball programs and volleyball programs and et cetera that are needing to travel across the country on middle of the weeks and during the school year. And so it's something that we're obviously mindful of and will continue to watch. But North Dakota State has been very public about their support of the Summit League and wanting to continue to build the Summit League.
How about this Friday, Josh? I know you can't say you have rooting interests for certain teams out of the Summit League to win the title, but the Coyotes, they win the softball title for the first time ever, and they're going down to Nebraska, taking on Nebraska Friday in the tournament. Now you can root for the Coyotes, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we will definitely root for the Coyotes against the Huskers. Yeah. I know they're up against a pretty good program there, but Omaha had a great season in softball, and they built a great program down there, and to some extent they deserve to be looked at for the softball tournament as an at-large. But we're also very happy for South Dakota, who hadn't won a softball championship in the history of Division I since they've been Division I. And so for their program to get that accomplished and now play in the NCAA tournament is a pretty cool experience for their for their women and staff that will be down there.
I think it'll be electric. The crowd's packed, and there's been a lot of discussion about that, but it's going to be electric. Nebraska's taking on USD in the women's softball tournament, the regional coming up on Friday. Commissioner of the Summit League gives us some time tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Josh Fenton, always appreciate it, Josh. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Nate. Anytime.
Appreciate it. Josh Fenton on tonight on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Radio, featuring the Commissioner of the Summit League. Good perspective and insight on the expansion to 76 teams, so the men's and women's tournaments and more. Josh Fenton on tonight. Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, he said he's a legend. He is legendary columnist from Minneapolis. Writes for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Jim Souhan joins us for the first time next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's May 2028. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome back in across South Dakota. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, live, local, the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City and KWSN Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Glad you're here. Question of the day. Who would you put on your USA Olympic flag football team? I need a quarterback and wide receiver. Your must-have QB and wide receiver for your USA Olympic flag football team. Yeah, we did this in honor of the Minnesota Vikings starting a flag football program in Sioux Falls for this upcoming season. They're going to do the startup costs, the coaches, all that stuff. Girls middle school and high school will be able to play flag football through this partnership with the Vikings and the Sioux Falls School District Community Learning Centers. So, question of the day, 605-720-1067 on the text line. Your must-have QB and wide receiver. Mine is Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson. Those are my QB1, wide receiver 1. Okay? Let's go to Minnesota. Longtime sports writer. Our last guest called him a legend. I didn't make that up. It just happened. Josh Fenton of the Summit League, the commissioner, was on. He said, growing up in Minnesota, he knows Jim Souhan, who's columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. His column's up there, StarTribune.com right now on the Wolves and Spurs last night. Jim, welcome in. I appreciate your time. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. So let's just get into the Wolves last night. You write the Spurs were just better. Are they better? Are they better now?
I think they are. And listen, they were the second seed in the better conference in the NBA. It might be the second best team. They might have been the second best team in the regular season because to finish second in the West is doing something. They beat up on Oklahoma City head-to-head. They surged down the stretch. They are young. They're incredibly athletic. They're deep. They're well coached. They have the most unstoppable player in basketball. We can't call him the best yet, but he seems to be using the last couple of months to assert that he's going to take over the game of basketball. And I don't know who or what could stop him. I think the Wolves caught this team at the wrong time. Usually it takes an NBA team a while to figure out how to win the playoffs. I think the Spurs are ready to win now. This is a very good Wolves team. It's been a very good 3, 4, 5 season run. But the problem they have is they're in the wrong conference. They could be very good in this series. They could be very good for the next 5 years, and they might not ever have a chance to be anything but the third best team in the conference.
Can you stop Wemby? Can you stop him?
Only he can stop him. He and their offensive strategy are the only hope you have. Because he's 7'4" or 7'6", whatever the heck he is, it looks really cool when he goes out and shoots long three-pointers. And he's hitting a reasonable – I think he's shooting about 35% on the season. That's not great percentage. It's a reasonable percentage. If he ever says, okay, I know I can shoot the three, but if I finish developing my footwork and my post moves, I'm going to be able to score anytime I want. And if the other team sends 3 or 4 bodies at me, then I'm going to kick out to very good young three-point shooters, and we are going to light this league up. I don't think you can stop him if he develops just another 10, 20% of his offensive skills inside. You can't block his shot. He has great touch. He can dunk it on you. He can shoot a floater. If he developed like just a little baby hook, nobody's going to stop him.
Jim Souhan on tonight, StarTribune.com, longtime columnist. So what do you think happens Friday, Jim, in Minnesota?
The Wolves have been very good at home in this postseason. They really have responded to the crowd. The crowds have been great. The atmosphere has been great. I know they'll put up a good fight. I just think there are epic series that go 7 games, and you really don't know what's going to happen. Like the Wolves against Denver 2 years ago. You had no idea who was going to win that series until the last minutes of the game of Game 7. Most series, you start to get a feel 4 or 5 games in. Okay, one team's better, and if they don't screw it up, they're going to win it. And I feel like that's what happened in Game 5. Because let's face it, the series was 2-2, but the Wolves' 2 wins came on a last-second missed 3 by the Spurs that would have changed that outcome.
Yeah.
And Wemby getting ejected in the second quarter. I can't believe that Wemby, the way he was playing, wouldn't have had an impact on that game had he kept his cool, and that would have been a difficult game. So this series could have been over in 4 or 5 games. The Wolves have kind of hung tough and won a couple games, but I think the Spurs now are the better team, and they know they're the better team, and I think deep down the Wolves know they're the better team. Doesn't mean the Wolves can't win another game, but I think we know where this is headed.
So Wolves have made deep runs in the playoffs here. Not NBA Finals, but Western Conference Finals. And they might get bounced here, but does that mean they need to change something now? I saw Teague, the former NBA guard today, Jeff Teague, say, the Wolves need another dynamic guard. They need like Kyrie Irving. What do you say?
There are two ways the Wolves could go. One would be take the easy way out, fire Finch, pretend he was the problem, and hope that somebody comes in and they have better luck with health and that this team can get a little bit better playing together going in. I don't think that's the solution, but that's what a lot of general managers would do. I don't know that Connolly will do that, but a lot of teams would do that. I think the Twins fired Rocco Baldelli because they ran out of other things to do and they knew they weren't good enough. The other thing you can do is exactly what Jeff Teague's talking about, and I agree with that. What they've tried to do thus far is build good, deep teams around Anthony Edwards. The problem with that is, and Edwards is an exceptional player, and he's playing on two bad knees right now, and he's gutting it out, and it's really admirable. But once again, same thing as the team problem. The Spurs are the Wolves are not as good as Oklahoma City and the Spurs. Anthony Edwards, as good as he is, right now is not as good as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he's not going to be as good as Victor Wembanyama. So if everybody stays healthy, once again, you've maybe the third, fourth, fifth best star in the West. So you better give him some real help, not depth help. You better find him a co-star. Giannis, I know if Tim Connolly could possibly trade for Giannis, he would. We'll see if that's a possibility or if he's going to get outbid. And, somebody like Kyrie Irving would be another nice alternative. Kyrie gets hurt a lot. He has some issues, but he's won a title. He's gotten to the finals with another team where he was the second-best player. He does things that very few people in the league can do.
If the Wolves don't come back here, who do you like? You've been following this series. Who do you like in the West? Can the Spurs play with OKC like the regular season?
They can definitely play with them. Will they win it? Well, Oklahoma City right now is better defensively or more consistently good defensively than the Wolves. The Wolves have great games defensively, but it doesn't always show up. Oklahoma City is a little more sure with where they want to go with the ball and how they want to get their shots. They also play to the refs much better than the Wolves do. Wolves try to play straight-up ethical basketball. The Thunder just flops all over the place and gets the benefit of the doubt. I think it would be a great series, and I think it would come down to whether the Spurs were ready to handle close, late-game situations against a team that has been playing together for a long time. I don't know who I'd pick. I'd probably pick the Spurs for fun. If I were betting my own money, I'd probably pick the Thunder because they're chalk. But it would be a great, great series.
StarTribune.com columnist Jim Souhan on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Radio across South Dakota. Find him on X at Souhan Strib. You can follow him if you're not. Wild play tonight. If they go down tonight at Colorado, then what's the storyline this summer? Twins for a month and then Vikings or what?
Twins, it's such a shame that Taj Bradley got hurt. The Twins have all kinds of problems, including the amount of money they spend on payroll and the poll ads. They also have terrible, terrible luck. Taj Bradley was going to be the story of their season, and he goes down. Now, I don't think it's serious. I think he'll be back in a couple of weeks. The story of the season with the Twins is probably not going to be winning or contending. It's going to be, are the young pitchers going to be good? Taj Bradley is very good. Prelup is a really good young pitcher. Rojas has tons of talent. Abel started showing us something before he got hurt. Andrew Morris is going to be an arm either in the bullpen or in the rotation. He's going to be a factor. Then you have, you got a few more. They have a few other prospects. Zebby still might be a good pitcher. Fest is going to be back here soon. So they're not built to win. They didn't get them enough offense. They didn't get them enough bullpen. The young starting pitching could be a story all summer if you like baseball. If you all you care about is winning, you're going to have to wait a year or two. The Vikings, they're going to hire a general manager, and they still probably need to add a defensive player or two. That'll be interesting as well. But yeah, we're going to fall off a cliff here, going from Frost, Wild, and Wolves playoff runs to just God. I hope the Twins can be semi-interesting.
I know that. Vikings to me are interesting. The Athletic ranked their roster as 18th best, right behind the Bears at 17. What do you say?
Well, I have a couple athletic people on my podcast network, TalkNorth.com. Alec Lewis does a show for us, and I do the Viking Update show with John Krasinski.
Okay.
And I think we would all, this group who have been covering this team for a long time, I think we'd all grade them a little higher than that. Now, they do have questions. They probably need Harrison Smith to come back. They need this draft to be a hit after 3 or 4 years of bad drafts. But Jennings as a third receiver is a win.
Yeah.
What they really need is they need Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel to be healthy, productive edge rushers because they don't have any depth. I talked about that with Alec Lewis on the Viking Update show today. They don't have any depth at edge rusher, and that's like the second most important position in football. If they find a way to keep those two guys healthy and productive, a lot of things fall into place. If they don't, they're going to be searching.
Jim Souhan on tonight, columnist, StarTribune.com on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Great to have him. How stunned will you be if the Wild win tonight?
Because it's hockey, I wouldn't be stunned. I would be stunned if they came back and won the series.
Okay.
Winning tonight, the reality of hockey is, basketball, you got to get to 100 or you got to get to 95 efficiently while playing good defense. You can't really fake anything. You can get lucky on one play or one bounce, but you have to play really well overall to beat a good NBA team. Hockey, if your goalie plays well and you have a couple pucks deflect into the net on the other end, you can win a game 3-2 without necessarily dominating play. So, listen, I give the Avalanche are favored. They should be favored. They might be 70-80% chance of winning for them. But it is hockey, and weird things happen in hockey.
StarTribune.com. Great to have him on. Hope to do it again. Jim, I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot.
Good talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Jim Souhan on tonight, columnist, StarTribune.com for his coverage. Great sports writer out of the Twin Cities. Find him on X at Souhan Strib, talking Minnesota sports. He would rank the Vikings higher than the Athletic roster rankings of 18th in the NFL. Vikings 18th. I mean, of course they're higher than that. Of course they're higher than that. So, Vikings are going to be, they'll be in the mix for the NFC North. They will be in the mix for the NFC North. So, I mean, the Bears are 17. Everybody thinks the Bears are awesome. So, Vikings and Bears should be higher than that, I think. And by the way, I'm the only guy in South Dakota who thinks the Bears are going to go backwards a little bit. I think they had everything bounce their way last year. I think the Bears go backwards a little bit. Everyone else thinks they're going, the Bears, oh, man, they're just going to get better and better. I think they go backwards a little bit. Let's come back with this. A high school basketball coach in Iowa doesn't get his contract renewed. His record is 167-23. What is going on? Coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's May 2028. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone and every ride.
This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show Wednesday edition. We're live on Fox Sports Radio. Remember, you can catch this show on a podcast. You might be listening on the podcast right now. That's wild. Go to The Nate Brown Show on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just search The Nate Brown Show, and then you've got us. The podcast is there. Search The Nate Brown Show on your favorite podcast platform. Amazon, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple. We're all there. The Nate Brown Show podcast available. Josh Fenton joined us tonight, Summit League Commissioner. Great interview with him, talking expansion of the tournament, going to 76 teams and his thoughts. Jim Souhan moments ago, longtime columnist, Minneapolis Star-Tribune on. Coming up, Craig Maddock, SDPB Sports. Also the new Roosevelt boys basketball coach, Ben Schultz. He's been the coach at Spearfish. Now he's heading out east to Sioux Falls, Roosevelt. Ben Schultz, an East River guy, so getting back East River and going Sioux Falls, Roosevelt. We'll talk to him coming up. 605-720-1067. That's our number. It's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline and also the Barron's Wilson text line. Be a part of the conversation there. So this came across my radar today. I've dug into it. We talk high school sports on this show, and there's a high school sports story out of Clear Lake, Iowa. That's North Iowa, okay? Clear Lake, Iowa. There's a boys basketball coach, Jeremy Ainley, whose record the last 8 years is 167-23. 167-23. So you look at the record for a high school coach, and you're like, man, this is the real deal. I mean, this coach, he must know what he's doing, right? Everybody wants to win. Everybody's winning. So much winning there. 167-23. So here's what happened last night. The board, the school board there in Clear Lake School District, did not renew his contract. So as I saw some news on this, and I was like, okay, this is the type of stuff. This stuff happens in South Dakota, Iowa, wherever. What's the story here? There's always more to the story. I don't know all the details, but you got to look into this. The school district had a bullying and harassment allegation from a parent of a player. So you start there. It goes to the superintendent. The superintendent commented in a news report and said, hey, I got to look at everything. I mean, I know there's people that back up this coach, and, I'm paraphrasing him, but the superintendent said there's support there, and there's good things there, but I got to look at above the surface and below the surface. That was his quote, the superintendent. I got to look above the surface, below the surface, so I got to take all things into account. So why am I discussing this? Well, the board voted last night 4-1 to not renew this basketball coach's contract. And then people are, everybody can speculate. You say, well, what happened here? What really happened? And there were people talking about vulgar language was mentioned, the bullying and harassment allegation. What's that really mean? What's that about? And those are the details we're not going to know. So those are the details the AD knows, the superintendent knows. Those are the complaints that come. My question is, how do you handle this today as a high school administrator? That's my question for everybody listening. Maybe you're a parent. Maybe you have high school athletes. Maybe you've had high school athletes. Maybe you've been a coach. I mean, there's all sorts of folks that text into the show and from all walks of life, and we're all involved in sports in one way or another in South Dakota. This type of stuff happens. How are you handling this? Because this one here, the AD did not comment anymore. So I was looking at this news out of Clear Lake, Iowa. The AD, no comment. Superintendent, commented there. I got to look at all aspects here, and here's why this happened, the bullying and harassment allegation from a parent of a player. And so then the coach, Jeremy Ainley, talked last night at the board meeting. What do you have, 75 supporters there? So I saw that, 75 supporters at the board meeting saying, hey, this is wrong and stuff. And people are saying, look, he's been there 8 years, great record, a lot of success. And the coach said, we hold people accountable. That was his statement. The coach says, we hold kids accountable. I've pushed them to their limits on stuff. We hold them accountable with academics. We push them to do things they think they can't do. And so you're never going to know the details here. What happened? What's the real story? So I just don't know what you do. The administrators today in high school sports are in a rock and a hard place. Because they're always supposed to support the coaches, and they should. I believe you have to support the coaches because the parents are going to come with stuff all the time. There's going to be this parent's not happy about this parent's not happy about that. I mean, there's something parents are going to be upset about all the time, believe me. So you have to be kind of a filter and say, what's legitimate here? Did we get a bunch of complaints? Did we get numerous ones? I don't know. Maybe there's more than one, but initial one was a parent of a player. Then there were other players and other parents that supported the coach. So how are you supposed to handle this day and age in high school sports? I ask that question because I really wonder. I absolutely do wonder. High school administrators, you say, you got to back up the coaches because they have to make hard decisions about playing time, about this. You got to let them run their program. You got to have some accountability, some discipline. But then it goes over the top to the superintendent, and now the superintendent's like, well, we're going to do this. So there's this almost like one player's bad experience in certain aspects might derail it. It can be one play. Hey, this happened or this happened, and I don't know the details. We won't. So we don't know the details. But a coach that was there in Clear Lake for 8 years said it's a typical high school situation. Parents, in certain ways, get upset. What is the administrator supposed to do? Well, support the coach. But maybe the AD does. Maybe the superintendent in this case. And then it goes to the board, and that's that. This is a very difficult situation this day and age because you want to listen to the parents, but you have to have some backbone. Got to have some backbone. Because, I hear these stories, guys. I hear about parents walking into schools. They just walk in and they talk to teachers. It's like, that's interesting. I thought we could back up, teachers, coaches, educators. Hey, walk right in. Ridicule this. Got to have some support for coaches and educators. Can't be letting everybody run the show. Coming right back. I've got an interesting thought here. World Cup's coming up, right? We haven't talked World Cup yet. World Cup, USA? I have a deal here. The U.S. soccer, big narratives out there. The men, they can never win. They can never win. And people think they know why, but they're wrong. Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
The following radio ad is Good Fun Squad approved.
My name is Jenny, and I'm the lady at the South Dakota Lottery who writes out those big checks for our winners. It's a lot of fun, but we've had so many big winners lately, my hand is tired. There was a $600,000 winner, a $2 million winner, a $4 million winner. That's a lot of zeros, and not normal zeros, big check zeros, and the winning never stops. That's why I'm learning to write with both hands.
Good fun.
Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone, it's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Dakota Discount RV, we're in it for the long haul, just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at dakotadiscountrv.com.
Isn't it time for new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen? With mortgage interest rates where they are right now, so many people are renovating their own homes rather than moving. And there's never been a better time to invest in awesome new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. Renewal by Andersen's legendary windows have been the best you can get for decades, but many people don't know that Renewal by Andersen also has incredible new ensemble entry doors and the entire Acclaim line of replacement windows, which are winning rave reviews from clients. Renewal by Andersen's windows, ensemble entry doors, and the entire Acclaim line of replacement windows will make your home so much more energy efficient on cold winter nights or hot summer days. Those new windows and doors will make your home so much more quiet and secure. We hear that all the time. Please visit RBARapidCity.com to schedule a free consultation. Be sure to ask about our great offers and really attractive financing options right now. Renewal by Andersen Windows and Entry Doors. Isn't it time?
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Hope you're having a great day. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Two good guests coming up. Ben Schultz is on the way. He's the new head boys basketball coach, Sioux Falls Roosevelt. You may know Ben, right? He was in Spearfish with the Spartans and had a good couple of seasons with Spearfish. He's going back. East River head coach for Roosevelt, taking over for Begeman. We'll talk to Coach Ben Schultz coming up on the high school sports side. We'll go East River meets West River, our weekly hitter, with Craig Maddock live coming up from South Dakota Public Broadcasting. He is on the way. You want to be part of the show, 605-720-1067. Join us there. I appreciate it. On the Barron's Wilson text line, 605-720-1067. Same number for the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch. Two great locations, East River in Brandon and East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, home of everyone's favorite buffet. 5 questions from Chris coming up. You've been waiting for that. You have been waiting. 5 questions from our loyal listener, Chris. He's got some good ones today. I think I have some solid answers. We'll see, Chris. That's coming up. First, I got to get out in front of this. So I don't know what I'm missing, and so you guys help me out. I really don't know what I'm missing here. So with the World Cup coming up here in the U.S., Kansas City, maybe you guys are going to go down and watch a World Cup game, but World Cup's coming up. People are getting excited for this summer. That's great. I'm going to be watching the game. It's going to be outstanding. Love it. So I'm all over it. But the narrative is what every time? The U.S. men, they can't make it far. They can't win it. What is wrong with U.S. soccer? So, I mean, it just fits it every time. I mean, they're already starting it. I can't believe it. Kristen Pulisic, they're never going to win it. They can't win it. Why can't we win it? We're a huge country. We're number one. Why can't we win it? And so then it gets into, well, let's go all the way down to the youth model. Let's look at what's wrong. There's too much fragmented clubs, and nobody's on the same page, and it's pay to play, and people get lost along the way. There's some validity to that. So I'm not going to kill that totally. But that cannot be why we don't win the World Cup. Right, guys? I mean, what am I missing here? Because people want to talk about the U.S. men not winning it, not advancing very far, the whole thing. They say, I can't believe it. We get beat by small countries. Unbelievable. The women have dominated, and the youth soccer on the girls' side is the same thing. So, I mean, we've been out front on the women's side. We've won. Right? You say, oh, well, maybe not now. We're kind of taking a step back. No, I mean, we're still up there. The women have won, and we're still up there. Maybe we don't dominate as much. Maybe the rest of the world's got kind of catching up there. So there might be a small part of it. Oh, the youth soccer model is bad, and that's why we can't do it. Well, the women have won, and the girls' soccer model is the same as the boys' soccer model in this country, but we just take the easy one. I think we say, oh, yeah, we should be better. We never mention what is this country? Where do we lose a bunch of our male athletes? Not lose them, but what sport do they play? Football, not football. Football. So I mean, to me, it's an easy thing. It's like, well, we're a huge country. We should have more athletes to go around. We should have football athletes and soccer athletes. No. Soccer has not been number one here. It's not going to be number one. And so then when we get on the world stage and you're playing all these countries where it is number one, I mean, it is number one by far, that's why we're behind. It doesn't just say, well, it's the youth model and we're struggling. That's what it is. That's not the reason. I said maybe a small part, but they never bring the women into this. Say, hey, the women have won, so their youth model must be a lot better in this country. You must do things a lot differently. No. They're still doing this league, this club, that club, pay to play, this here, players getting lost in the shuffle. That happens in girls' soccer. You get the women find their way, we get to the best of the best, and then we've won. On the men's side, well, we got to blame something. No, it's football. And our soccer culture is good. It's gotten better. But Landon Donovan was like saying, oh, we got to fix stuff. We do. I'm not telling you we don't. We do. But we're not going. It hasn't been. It's been football, basketball, soccer's in there trying to get in there. It's not number one here. It is number one in a ton of these countries. That's the answer. I mean, nobody throws that out. Just why can't the U.S. men win in soccer? It's unbelievable. No, it's easy. Coming right back, let's go to Craig Maddock, South Dakota Public Broadcasting. It's East River meets West River. 5 questions from Chris. We got to get to it as well. Busy show. Hang on.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for an upgrade, and don't spend a dime for 2 years. That's right, 0 zip zilch with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's May 2028. Say goodbye to drafts and outdated design, and hello to our acclaimed replacement windows and our stunning ensemble entry doors. Get energy-efficient windows and doors and beautiful upgrades with zero regrets. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
All right, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live. Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates, KWSN Sioux Falls, Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad you're here. If you missed parts of the show, the Nate Brown Show podcast, always available. Wherever you get your podcast, search The Nate Brown Show. A lot of you do that. We appreciate that. So you can listen on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Search The Nate Brown Show, and you've got every show here. Sioux Falls Roosevelt has a new boys basketball coach taking over for Mitch Begeman, Ben Schultz. He was the head coach at Spearfish, and he's going to take over at Roosevelt. Ben Schultz coming up live tonight, later this hour. Craig Maddox in first. SDPB Sports, South Dakota sports broadcasting legend. Craig, how about that intro?
Checks in the mail.
All right.
It's coming your way.
I mean, I don't do that every time you come on. It's like once every 6 months, okay? Once every 6 months. And I can't afford the royalties. I cannot afford that.
I understand.
Okay. I want to get your thoughts on something here, and you've been in the game a long time. So Jay Elson, I've had him on the show, and I know Jay, you may know him, great broadcaster, a pro. He's not going to do the full-time Midco Sports. Midco Sports has cut over the years. They had a bunch of high school stuff they cut, now college, and now Jay was like full-time announcing. Now it looks like he might still do some games if they have the contract for USD and SDSU, but not full-time. So this is another story, media changing and looking at it saying, I had this question, is sports coverage better or worse? I think about newspapers, radio, TV now. There's some gaps.
I would totally agree with you, and I've certainly been on the other end. I know Jay. I sent my thoughts to Jay here today when I found out that he was let go, and basically the Midco Sports Network that had tons and tons of announcers that were full-time announcers. Well, they don't have any full-time announcers now. They're going the way of the independent contractor, where you go find another full-time job somewhere, and then if you can, and if it works with your full-time job, to break away and do games for us. That's tough. I've been involved with it for many, many years. I'm an independent contractor with South Dakota Public Broadcasting. I do not work full-time for them. I did work full-time in the radio business, especially in Sioux Falls. I retired from that, by golly, it's been 6 years ago.
Wow.
But my employer at the time was allowing me, at the time, during all those years, I've been with SDPB now, this will be, 26 years, and my employer was gracious enough to let me get away from that job and do ball games on SDPB, and I'm very thankful for that. But not every business is like that. You don't know how that's going to work out. I absolutely hope Jay can find that same spot. But when you look at what's happening, especially radio in Sioux Falls has been atrocious. For ball games, just nobody's doing them anymore. We're rare. You guys are getting the job done in Rapid City. I know the Hurons and the Aberdeens and the Yanktons, those stations, they're doing great.
Yes.
They're still doing local work. But Sioux Falls has been atrocious, and maybe that'll change somewhere down the road. And I wish Jay all the best. But it's happening in a lot of markets. Where you go the independent contractor route, you don't have to pay benefits, you don't have to pay this and that, which is too bad. I feel bad for all. I mean, I knew a lot of those folks that used to work for Midco, from the Tom Niemans and the Alex Heinert, and certainly Jay. And so anyway, I wish them all the best. But yes, it is changing, and I think the content of trying to find information, you can find it on the internet. Sioux Falls and South Dakota, North Dakota, they got some people that are doing internet stuff where you can find it if you search for it. But your daily sports talk, certainly, except in Rapid City, it's a little bit on the tough side.
Yeah, I think about this. Think about this, Craig. In Sioux Falls and Rapid City, two biggest markets, sports coverage was so much more when there wasn't as many like D1, D2. I mean, you go back, 15 years ago, there was way more sports coverage, and now there's still as many sports or even higher level of sports, and there's not as much coverage. It's just bizarre to me.
Well, when I was doing the radio business, there was a lot going on, especially for Sioux Falls. Especially you had the Canaries and the Stampede, Skyforce. Even had the pro soccer team we had, the Spitfire, whatever they were. They were in town. We had a lot of mid-major amateur athletics as well as the high school, and of course covering Vikings, Twins, the Wild, things like that. There was a lot to cover, but from the Argus Leader, that rag has totally been wiped off the map. They had 7-8 sports reporters. All of them have pretty much flown the coop, and that newspaper is atrocious right now.
Everything is changing, and I know I should get over it. I'm getting older. I'm now middle-aged. Would you consider me middle-aged? But I sound like an old man yelling at the clouds, but I don't think it's changing for the better. Another hit there, Midco Sports and Jay Elson no longer going to be full-time. Hopefully he is covering some games. It is South Dakota State and USD, but Midco Sports cutting back. Let's go to this. So there's a coach in Clear Lake, Iowa. There's more to the story that we're not going to find out. Basketball coach just didn't get his contract renewed last night at the board meeting. His record's 167-23. So there's a lot of supporters. He was had 75 people there last night supporting him, but they let him go. A bullying and harassment allegation brought up from a parent of a player. So again, I don't know the details. We don't know the story here. My question is, how do you handle it today as a high school administrator if one parent does not like a coach and there's this or that? How do you handle that?
You look at, I don't know the whole story on it either, although I know they got a great roller rink in Clear Lake, Iowa.
Okay.
I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice. It was great. Used to go there on the Luther League nights when I was in Church League way back when. But that's that long story from the 70s. The point is, getting away from that, is I don't know the details. You have to investigate the actual allegations, and like anything else, you have to inspect the allegations. You got to clear it out. You got to actually find the details, and if it's true, well, then you've got room for the reasons to dismiss. But if there are no allegations, nothing to be proven, well, then as an administrator, you got to have the backbone to say, hey, one, it's not true, and then two, we're going to keep going with this guy. But if the allegations are true, then even one allegation of something that could be serious, you really got to take a look at it.
Yeah. I don't know what bullying and harassment is, and that's a wide-ranging thing there. So Clear Lake, Iowa coach, big winning record, 8 years as a coach. He's out last night. I think administrators are in a rock and a hard place sometimes today with certain parent complaints. Hey, by the way, Craig Maddock, Minnesota Vikings, your Minnesota Vikings are launching a flag football league officially with the community learning centers through the Sioux Falls School District this fall for middle school girls and high school girls. Flag football, I like it. Will it take off? Could I get my Broncos to do it in Rapid City?
Well, I would hope so. I would hope so. I would hope that it wouldn't have to be the Broncos that have to spearhead it. I know that there is flag football in Sioux Falls already. The Riggs Football Academy, the Sanford people, there is flag football here growing now, but if you get a little more support from a pro franchise, I guess that's pretty good. But I do agree that I think flag football is going to grow.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
Will it? Their goal is to get it to be a high school sport. I think that's a little tougher. Montana does it. Montana has high school girls flag football. They hope they might want to sanction it in the next year or two in Montana.
I got to think, because of what the numbers that you need for that, and I certainly think the numbers could be good for Rapid City and for Sioux Falls, but you get into the smaller towns, the numbers, you only have so many kids that can play athletics. And if you add another sport, no matter whether it's like football or lacrosse or what would name your sport, again, it's going to maybe take away from other sports, and so they just don't have the numbers. I certainly don't see it happening as a sanctioned sport in South Dakota.
Craig Maddock jumping in tonight. He is here. East River meets West River. He is with South Dakota Public Broadcasting. He's on X at Craig Maddock, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show. Craig, I appreciate you. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate the time as always. A brand new In Play podcast coming out real soon. Folks in Rapid City will certainly recognize my interview. Should be released sometime this week. So I appreciate it there, Mr. Brown.
Okay, this week, In Play, a new In Play with Craig Maddock. Get it where you download your podcasts. 5 questions from Chris. We got to book it, man. Let's go.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Sagging, bouncing, or uneven floors? Call Blackburn Foundation Repair. Standing water or high humidity? Nasty odors or dangerous mold? Call Blackburn. Critters, bugs, or other pests? That's right, call Blackburn. It's a fact. Crawl space problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call Blackburn Foundation Repair. Call Blackburn Foundation Repair today.
Imagine this, a bank that is committed to you, that understands your needs, your values, and your growth. No more settling for the status quo. Pioneer Bank and Trust offers tailored solutions, innovative services, and a team of experts dedicated to your success. You deserve more attention and more support from your bank. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
In Deadwood, South Dakota, Cadillac Jacks practically invented gaming, delivering everything you want in a 24/7 gaming experience and nothing you don't. 3 bold lodging options, 5 crave-worthy dining spots, a sports book built for the big game, and a casino floor that never sleeps. Score events, hot casino promotions, our infinity pool, and a merch store that lets you rep the win. Always bet on red. Book now at CadillacJacksGaming.com on Main Street, Deadwood.
Doesn't matter where your ride's from. At Al's D&I, we baby them, every single one. Got a ride from across the pond? No worries. Let the ASE certified pros at Al's D&I pamper your pride and joy. Foreign or domestic, maintenance or repair. Doesn't matter if it requires special parts or tools or if its owner's manual is in another language. At Al's D&I, we don't care where your ride's from, but we do take great care to treat your ride like it is our own. Drive on in to Al's D&I, Sturgis Road, and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio, the Nate Brown Show, powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union. My family's banking partner. I don't just say that. We work with them every day. I want you to know being a member at BHFCU has been the right choice for us, from the technology, the convenience. We have the mobile app on my phone. It's really easy. Transfer money to my daughter's account. Do I have to do that? Every now and then, believe me. But I save on great rates with vehicle loans, personal business. Look at BHFCU.com. Start there. Become a member. BHFCU.com. 18 locations from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls. That's BHFCU.com. Get a bank that works for you. Hey, Ben Schultz is in tonight. He's been the head boys basketball coach in Spearfish. Done a nice job there. State tournament appearance there. So I was watching him, and that program's been competitive. Now he's going to go to Sioux Falls Roosevelt. He's here on the Nate Brown Show tonight, courtesy of the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Coach, good to get you on. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate the time. Wanted to talk about kind of your start and what you thought of your time in Spearfish and getting a program going, state tournament, and having some good kids in there. What'd you learn from your time in Spearfish?
Oh man, how long do you have? I mean, it was my first coaching job, head coaching job, and also in the AA ranks of it. So I learned a lot, and I also failed a lot. At the beginning, my first season we had 6 wins. I also lost. Our team that year also lost 5 one-possession games, and that's where a coach really feels like they can make an impact, especially in those tight games and deep in the fourth quarter. And I learned a lot that season, and failed a lot, and just kept putting my head down and finding those mistakes and realizing those, and learning from them so you don't make them again. But I love this community out here, and the kids are great. If it was just a decision off of kids, I never would have left. It's just for my life, it made sense getting back out to the east, closer to my brother and my friends, and a little bit more affordable way of life over there. So I learned so much here, and excited for a new opportunity though here at Roosevelt.
How did you get that Spearfish program going after 6 wins? I mean, I know you got to have players, but they gotta put in work. They got to do camps. I mean, they got to have some buy-in here. How did you get the Spearfish boys program going to get to state last year?
Yeah, I think back to Kansas where Bill Self, he talked to the Kansas football team, and it's a speech that really kind of resonated with me a little bit. Of he talked about builders and maintainers, and builders, they don't always get to see the fruit of what they do, but there's got to be someone first through the wall. And my first group of seniors, that first team, we weren't overly competitive. We only won 6 games, and we were in a lot of games, but we were struggling along the way. But them just putting their head down and changing the culture as far as holding the standards and the expectations that we wanted to hold and what we wanted to be about. They were the first that had to do that, and them being the first ones, they don't have the teams that I've had these last 2 years have that really opportunity to be on a big stage and compete for that state championship type level team. So that's really tough sell, but credit to the kids that really bought into what we were selling. We laid out a 5-year plan to get us back on track, and the kids executed day in and day out. We started making the weight room in the summer development a priority, and when you do that, when you have a group together that want to do that and focus on that, you can really turn things around quickly. So credit to those first teams to really lay the groundwork for the teams that are to follow. And Spearfish is in a really good spot where they're going to be competitive here for the foreseeable future. So I'm excited to still follow those kids and see how they develop, and I know they're going to do great just because I see what they're capable of and what they do on a daily basis. So I have no doubt that Spearfish will continue to be competitive.
Spearfish made the state AA tournament last year, and then this past season You guys got knocked out by T area. A tough matchup in the Sodak 16. You good with the Sodak 16? You know, being in there, seeded out just the one game to make the state tournament. You like that?
I mean, I don't really look too much into it. You know, the ADs do a really good job of talking about that and promoting what's good for their area. I just try to focus on what's in front of me, you know, one day at a time. And, you know, if this is the format, this is the format, and let's try to find a way to host and then, you know, get a matchup that hopefully favors us and see if we can make a berth into the state tournament. And like you said, this year with T, you know, T kind of had a skid towards the end of the season. You know, they were a top 4 team all season and, you know, kind of hit a cold stretch there late. And then a combination of, you know, them coming into our gym the season before, so they had a little extra chip on their shoulder. And, you know, T, credit to them, they played awesome. You know, I thought, you know, in that Sodak 16 game, you know, we played well. I don't think we played, you know, our best game, but I thought we played really well. They just played great. So you got to tip your cap to them on that. But, you know, that's the postseason for you. You gotta bring your best game, and you know, if you don't put your best game on the court, there's a good chance you'll go home.
Yeah, tough matchup for you. I saw that one coming. I was like, man, T, pretty good team, and you guys had a tough one there. Both of you guys could have been state tournament teams potentially. Ben Schultz is on tonight. He's the former Spearfish boys basketball coach. His new opportunities at Sioux Falls Roosevelt. So I talked to Mitch Begeman. I've had him on over the years. He kind of did the same thing. Started out slow at Roosevelt, built it. They've been really good. They were in the semifinals this past season. What do you see at Roosevelt stepping in right away?
Yeah, you know, Mitch Begeman's done a fantastic job, you know, there the last 10 years, and, you know, he's a really good leader, and, you know, his teams play extremely hard. And, you know, when I watch Roosevelt play from a scouting standpoint, you know, I identify with a lot of what they're about. You know, the defensive mindset, the intensity, you know, the passion, the pace of play, you know, the tempo that they want to play at. You know, those are things that, you know, I really identify with and excited to continue on there at Roosevelt.
Who do you see in AA? It's hard, Coach, because there's graduates, there's people that, you know, you're like looking to this next season. Who's coming in AA here? Lincoln's been so good. Who's out there right away?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore T. They bring everyone back. They were a top 5 team all season. You know, they played every game tough in the state tournament there. So it's tough to not look at them and think that, you know, they're going to be a top team, top level team. You know, Lincoln, you know, Coach Hanneman does an awesome job there. You know, just watching his offensive flow and, you know, how his kids plays, he does things the right way. And, you know they're going to reload. And Harrisburg also reloads every year. They had a really competitive JV team. You know, one team that I think people might think will fall off is Huron, but Huron still has the length. They still had young talent playing. Now, you know, you're losing L-Line there that, you know, covered up a lot of their flaws, but I think they're going to be really competitive as well. You know, I think year to year, it's always tough to kind of see how kids develop and whatnot, but, you know, the Kudera kid from Yankton, you know, I was extremely impressed with him. Jefferson has, you know, two all-state level players coming back next year. So you know, looking at it as a whole, you know, I kind of think T is going to be towards that top, but, you know, there's always going to be teams that surprise you, and I think Roosevelt brings back a lot of talent as well, and excited to get there and start working with them.
You come back East River, you say that's why you took this opportunity. It's a great opportunity. Head coach for Sioux Falls Roosevelt boys basketball is Ben Schultz. He's on the Nate Brown Show tonight. Sioux Falls Metro, the Metro in boys basketball, how high level is it now that you're coming back?
Yeah, I mean, it's the most competitive conference in the state, and you know, that's where I want to be. You know, those kinds of things don't scare me. They don't deter me from, you know, what I want to accomplish and what I want, you know, our teams to play like. So the Metro, there's no gimme games on your schedule. You're gonna have to bring it every single week, and, I'm excited to be immersed into that competition.
Ben Schultz joining us tonight, getting you intro to the Rough Riders head coach. He's been in Spearfish, doing a good job for the Spartan boys basketball program. He's coming to East River, taking over at Roosevelt. Coach, good to talk to you. We'll do it again. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate the time. Ben Schultz on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. He's the new head boys basketball coach, Sioux Falls Roosevelt, taking over for Mitch Begeman. And Schultz done a nice job there in Spearfish. Got them pretty darn competitive the last couple of years in AA boys basketball. Not easy to do in Spearfish. Not huge numbers there, but did a nice job. We'll see Coach Schultz at Sioux Falls Roosevelt next season. Coming right back, who's hot and who's not? Oh, the NFL. They put out some stuff today. See this? I don't like some of it. Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people get into all kinds of vehicles with loans as unique as them. Trucks, cars, SUVs, we finance them all with local service and rates starting as low as 4.99% APR. That's right, 4.99%. Keep your loan local and find the one that fits you at bhfcu.com. Apply today online or text 605-718-1818 to get started. Offer subject to credit approval. BHFCU is member owned and insured by NCUA.
Weekend meal rules, they're different. Lots of meats, messier bites, zero regrets. That's why you need Village Hearth. Freshly baked old-fashioned buns that hold up to jumbo hot dogs, juicy burgers, and bold ideas. From lazy lunches to neighborhood block parties, Village Hearth brings it all together. Whatever's on the grill, make the bun count. Village Hearth. Cookouts start here.
No one comes close to the selection of beer, wine, and spirits you'll find at your Mr. Liquor stores in Rapid City. This month's specials include select Basil Hayden Bourbon at $10 off. Save $6 off the big 175-liter of Fireball, now only $23.99. Price is good at both Mr. Liquor stores in Rapid City. Off Catraw next to Walmart or the original Mr. Liquor on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City. Plus, follow Mr. Liquor on Facebook for in-store events, allocated bourbon drops, and exclusive in-store barrel picks.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. A red flag warning remains in effect. Slight chance of rain showers tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 63, winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 82. Lows around 46 tomorrow night. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 89 degrees.
Hanging with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales. I see new models of stand-up and teardrop campers on your lot.
Yes, you do. We're proud to feature the new SGC Armor line of campers from Bontrager Outdoors. Bang for the buck, there's just nothing out there like these new super cool Armor campers and Bontrager teardrops.
And the suspension these campers have? Wow, so impressive.
All our campers come standard with the off-road package. Bontrager and Armor just ramped boondocking up another notch. And right now, you'll get the best price all year on these 2026 ultra-light, ultra-beefy, option-loaded campers and teardrops.
You gotta check out these new look campers, people. The new designs are fantastic, and so many options for their size.
And so many options for towing. No need for a diesel or a big truck. These only weigh around 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, so they can be towed by almost any rig.
Check out these new 2026 Bontrager and SGC Armor campers, everyone. See AnytimeAnytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Everybody knows to have success on the court, your team needs the right strategy. And it's no different with life insurance. Your team at home is counting on you to have a strategy when things get tough. Lee Cruz, agent with New York Life Insurance Company, is ready to help you make sure the most important people in your life are protected. Get a no-obligation free quote fast. Just Google Lee Cruz New York Life. Don't risk it. Make the right play. Give your family financial comfort with life insurance. Get your coverage options with Lee Cruz New York Life, 605-360-8804. Google Lee Cruz New York Life.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown.
Hey, thanks for being here tonight. Wednesday edition of the program, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Covered it all tonight from high school to college to the pros. Great guests. Summit League Commissioner Josh Fenton was on tonight talking about the expansion of the men's and women's tournament to 76 teams. Does that benefit the Summit League? He was on tonight. Josh Fenton, the Summit League offices in Sioux Falls. Jim Suhan was on, longtime columnist for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, talking Wolves and more. Craig Maddock and Ben Schultz moments ago, new head boys basketball coach, Sioux Falls Roosevelt. He leaves Spearfish to go to Roosevelt. Coach Schultz was on tonight. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up here, and you can listen on demand. Who's hot and who's not? Let's do it tonight. Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Every night at this time, I tell you, the Pizza Ranch is the place to go in Brandon and East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Drop by the Pizza Ranch this week. It's getting hot. You don't want to cook? Let them do the cooking. No picky eaters. They have everything you want on the buffet. Best buffet in town at your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. In my Who's Hot category, well, I guess it's Matt Rule. You know how I said the Huskers have $29 million for NIL for their roster. That's what was reported out of Lincoln yesterday. Some media reports $29 million NIL. They're going to pay Matt Rule an extra $5 million to his company for his NIL. What do you mean? His podcast, his merchandise with his face on it. He gets an extra $5 million. So in 2026, his salary is going to be $13.5 million as part of this one-time payment. Is it what is it? I mean, Matt Rule is just taking it to the Huskers. So his podcast has 13,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's a little more than the Nate Brown Show. What's the deal? House Rules, it's called. And so what's this? He has a media LLC. And so Nebraska's going to make money off of his podcast and any apparel related merchandise. And so they're going to give him $5 million. $5 million extra to a coach? That just comes with the territory. He's the coach. You're paying him $8.5 already. Matt Rule bringing it home, an extra $5 million in NIL. That one-time payment, $13.5 million for 2026, and he's going to go 7-5. Anyway, if you're lucky. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category tonight, I'm going to go Netflix and the NFL. Bloomberg is estimating Netflix is getting this NFL package. It's not that many games, but they're going to get a few for $500 million. You wonder why the NFL does this streaming stuff? Netflix, Bloomberg estimating the NFL package is going to cost them $500 million. And on top of that, what's my big beef with this? Yeah, they're going to have the Thanksgiving Eve game now, the Packers and Rams on Wednesday night. But they're going to have the first game of the season. So Netflix has the first game of the season. It's going to be Thursday, and get this, in Australia. So Netflix and the NFL releasing their big games, they call it, big game package. I just think you got to have the opener of the NFL here in the USA. I don't need the opening game to be in Australia, and I don't need it to be on Netflix. But I'll be watching. Thanks for listening to the Nate Brown Show. The podcast getting ready to go up right now. And a busy show tomorrow on a Thursday happy hour. We'll see you then.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons.